Hey, and welcome to this sixth or fifth, I guess. In this Docker tutorial series, so far we have installed the MongoDB. We were able to connect with it, but we saw the problem with it was even though you can restart the containers, what the problem is we cannot back up the data, or we cannot migrate the data as well. There are many. We cannot reuse the same containers data in other container. There are many problems with it. Every container get its own gets its own a storage allocated. Okay, so like this. So if you have, let's say, one container running, it's gonna have its own storage allocated inside, and it's gonna keep on storing in this volume, we call it. Okay, so volume basically means storage. And if you spawn another container, it's gonna have its own volumes. They won't be able to communicate with each other's volumes because they are isolated space, so we won't be able to get the data out of it and all. So there are many problems with this. Generally you would want a volume which is a directory on your machine, and you want to tell your containers to use that volume instead of using some the default volume that was allocated to them. Okay, now you can use this. Remember, this is volume is nothing but a directory, nothing else. Okay, but after that, what Docker will do is Docker will start using that directory to store the data inside that directory, which helps us persisting the data, which helps us just in case you want to spawn another container, you can use the same volume for that container. Okay, which you can migrate the data like this, and there are many other use cases of that. Now, if you have observed in the last video when I was showing this page, there is a -v tag on it. This is the volumes tag. We have used so far other flags on them like name and d and all. The -v tag specifies which container, which folder from your machine is mapped to the folder inside Docker. Okay, so what we basically want is the /data/db. This is Linux convention, just like we have C drive, D drive. Linux has root with a slash. What Linux has, we are trying to tell Mongo is whenever Docker is gonna run this Mongo image, inside that image, take this folder and store it on this folder on my machine. So the left hand side is my machine's folder, and right hand side is the folder that inside container you want to back up on your machine. Now Docker inside MongoDB will keep on storing the data inside this folder. Remember that. But Docker has mounted this folder on your machine, so it will automatically come on your folder as well. Okay, so what for this purpose, I'm gonna this is your directory. Remember, it can be anywhere. You don't have to have a simple path. Generally, a specification helps. Like so, currently I'm on my user/docker folder. Inside this, I can create a new directory called as Mongo. So inside, I can create any number of other volumes. Let's say one for Postgres, one for any other application, and so on. So generally, I follow this specification. You don't have to. You can store it anywhere that you. Okay, so I have this. I have created this Mongo folder inside my home/docker. So my current path is almost same, home/docker/ instead of volumes I directly have Mongo because I'm not gonna store anything else. This is my volumes folder basically. Now I don't have any Docker containers running. Now what I can do is I can and also see ls. If I just ls Mongo, there is nothing inside that folder at the moment. Okay, now if I run the container docker docker run -name MongoDB. I have cleaned all the previous containers, so this will run fine. Docker run, then we need to run it in detached mode. We also need to change the ports to 7017 and 27017 to open on both the sides. And then we need to give this is port. Then we need to give the name of the image that we want to run. But only thing that we want to change here is -v. And you want to tell which folder from your machine, which is my home/docker/mongo, should be mapped to /data/db. Now one question you may get is, how do you know which image is using what folder inside it? Like this, I know where I want to store it, but you may not know the Mongo where it is storing the data. Most of the time you will get that information from official the hub readme. Okay, so if I search for, let's say, data slash db here, so if you want to persist where to store data, you want to persist, most of the time you'll get that information from the same readme. You just have to look very carefully through this readme, because it may be big, but all your problems, like all your questions, will be answered in this readme most of the times, especially if it is like official image and if it is well maintained. There is a chance that everything will be available inside this readme file, including how to create initial database, how to create username, how to set password like this. So you just have to pass this command -e password is some your password. So this is a password file, but you'll get the idea of this later. Okay, so just go through the readme if you have any other configuration you want to set up. Because remember, this is not a MongoDB tutorial, this is Docker tutorial, so I'm not gonna dive much deep into it. But if I give this now if I run this command, it's gonna spawn the container with name MongoDB. It's gonna run it in detached mode, open these ports for me, and now it's gonna use the volume home/docker/mongo, which is my current directory. So home/docker/mongo. Now if I check what's inside Mongo, earlier remember the output of that was ls mongo was empty. There was no such thing, nothing inside this Mongo folder. Now there are many files in it after I ran the container. The reason for that is pretty clear. Docker is storing the data here now. Now I can basically copy this directory and put it anywhere else. I can use the same directory as a volume for other Mongo instances, or any you can have backups like this or anything else that you want to do. Docker's only job is now to store all the data from here to here, and it will keep on storing, and your data will be persisted across your containers. Okay, so this is how we can use the volumes. There is nothing much to it apart from the basic operations like this, giving the your container your storage folder, and they attaching it to their storage folder. Okay, next time we'll learn some basic more advanced concepts with another, maybe another image or something, like other database or something, let's say. Thank you for joining. This is all for the video. I'll see you guys next time.